I'm here to help you fall asleep tonight. Before we begin, take a moment to tell me, where are you listening from? And what time is it there right now? Now, get cozy and let your shoulders drop. The gentle rain begins as you step aboard the narrow boat, each droplet catching the amber glow of the street lamps that line the canal. The boat rocks almost imperceptibly beneath your feet as you settle into the cushioned bench at the stern, wrapping a soft wool blanket around your shoulders. The boatman nods with a quiet smile, his weathered hands steady on the long wooden pole that will guide you through the sleeping city. The rain patters softly against the canvas canopy stretched overhead, creating a rhythm as old as time itself. Each drop seems to carry with it the promise of peace, of surrender to this gentle journey that stretches ahead through the quiet waterways. You breathe in deeply, tasting the clean scent of rain-washed air mixed with the faint mineral smell of the canal water below. As the boat begins to move, you feel the subtle shift of water beneath the hull, a motion so gentle it seems to match the rhythm of your own breathing. The pole slides into the water with barely a whisper, and you're gliding forward into the embracing darkness of the city's liquid arteries. The rain continues its soft percussion on the canopy above, creating a cocoon of sound that wraps around you like the warmest embrace. The first bridge appears ahead, its stone arch dark against the lighter sky. As you pass beneath it, the sound of the rain momentarily changes, echoing off the ancient stonework before opening up again to the gentle patter on canvas. Water drips from the bridge's edge in a slow, steady rhythm, each drop creating tiny circles on the canal's surface that catch and scatter the reflected light from the lampposts above. On either side of the narrow waterway, the city sleeps. Tall, narrow houses lean toward each other across the canal, their windows dark except for the occasional warm glow of a reading lamp or the blue flicker of someone unable to sleep. You wonder about the lives behind those windows, perhaps someone brewing late-night tea, or lying in bed listening to this same gentle rain that accompanies your journey. The boat moves with such smoothness that you begin to feel as though you're floating on air rather than water. The boatman's movements are economical and graceful, each push of the pole creating forward momentum that seems to last forever. You close your eyes for a moment and focus on the sound, the soft splash of water against the boat's sides, the whisper of rain on fabric, the distant murmur of water flowing over a lock somewhere ahead. When you open your eyes, you notice how the rain has transformed the city into something magical. Every surface gleams with moisture, from the brick walls of the houses to the metal railings of tiny balconies. The cobblestones of the narrow walkways that run alongside the canal are dark and slick, creating perfect mirrors for the street lights that stand like sentinels in the night. A cat appears on one of the walkways, moving with that particular feline grace through the rain. It pauses to watch your boat pass, its eyes reflecting the lamplight for just a moment before it continues on its nocturnal prowl. You smile at this brief encounter, this small reminder that life continues its quiet patterns even in the depths of night. The canal begins to curve, and as you round the bend, a new vista opens before you. Here, the waterway widens slightly, and small cafes with striped awnings line the banks. Their chairs and tables are turned upside down for the night, protected from the rain, but you can imagine how they must look during the day, filled with people sipping coffee and watching the boats go by. Now they stand empty and peaceful, waiting for tomorrow's warmth and conversation. The rain grows slightly heavier, and you pull the blanket closer around yourself, feeling completely dry and warm beneath the protective canopy. The increased rainfall creates a more pronounced rhythm above your head, like fingers gently drumming on a vast, soft surface. It's a sound that seems to slow your heartbeat, to ease the tension from your shoulders, to invite your mind to let go of the day's concerns and drift along with the current. You pass a small park that extends down to the water's edge, its trees heavy with rain-darkened leaves. A single bench sits empty beneath the old oak tree, and you imagine what it would be like to sit there in daylight, watching the boats pass while listening to the gentle lap of water against the stone embankment. The thought brings a deep sense of peace, of belonging to this quiet, timeless rhythm of water and weather. The boatman continues his steady work, never hurrying, never forcing the boat's progress. There's something deeply comforting about his presence. Competent, calm, completely at home on these dark waters. You don't speak. There's no need for words in this soft cocoon of rain and motion. The journey itself is conversation enough, a dialogue between you and the sleeping city, between your breathing and the rhythm of the rain. Another bridge approaches, this one older and more ornate than the first. As you glide beneath it, you notice the intricate stonework, worn smooth by centuries of weather. Water streams down from its surfaces in tiny waterfalls, each stream catching the light from the boat's small lantern. The echo of rain changes again as you pass under the arch, becoming fuller, more resonant, before opening once more to the gentler sound of rain on canvas. The houses here are older too, their facades telling stories of centuries past. Some have small balconies that jut out over the water, decorated with iron railings worked into intricate patterns. Others have simple wooden shutters, painted in colors that daylight would reveal as deep greens and blues and burgundies, but which now appear as varying shades of gray in the lamplight. In one window, you catch a glimpse of movement, someone drawing curtains closed against the night. The gesture speaks of bedtime routines, of the universal human need for shelter and warmth and rest. You feel a kinship with that unknown person, both of you part of the city's nighttime rhythm, both settling into the peace that comes with darkness and rain. The canal narrows again, and the walls of the buildings seem to embrace the waterway more closely. Here, small bridges span the water at regular intervals, each one unique in its construction and character. Some are simple stone arches, others more elaborate with decorative elements that speak of civic pride and artistic vision. Under each one you pass, the sound changes, the rain echoing differently, your breathing seeming fuller in the enclosed space before opening up again to the night air. You notice how the rain has created its own geography on the surfaces around you. Water runs down walls and rivulets, following the mortar lines between bricks, pooling on windowsills, dripping from eaves and gutters in steady streams. Each surface has become part of an intricate water sculpture, temporary and beautiful, constantly changing as the rain continues its gentle work. A few houseboats are moored along this stretch of the canal, their small windows glowing warmly in the darkness. Smoke rises from one chimney, dispersing quickly in the rain-heavy air. You imagine the cozy interiors, perhaps someone reading by lamplight, or lying in a narrow bunk listening to the rain on the cabin roof. The thought of such intimate spaces, such perfect shelter from the weather, fills you with a deep contentment. The boat's motion continues to work its magic on your nervous system. The gentle rocking, the forward glide, the subtle shifts as the boatman makes small corrections to your course, all of it combines to create a physical meditation, a bodily prayer of surrender to the journey. Your breathing has naturally slowed to match the boat's rhythm, and you find your thoughts becoming as fluid and peaceful as the water beneath you. A church spire appears ahead, its clock face dimly illuminated against the dark sky. As you pass, you hear the soft chiming of the quarter hour, the sound muffled by the rain but still clear and melodious. It's a sound that has marked time in this city for generations, a constant in the ever-changing flow of human life. You feel connected to all those who have heard this same bell, who have moved through these same waterways, who have found peace in the simple act of traveling slowly through a sleeping city. The rain continues its gentle symphony, sometimes growing slightly heavier, sometimes softening to barely more than mist, but never stopping entirely. It has transformed the night into something elemental and pure, washing away the harsh edges of daytime life, and leaving only softness and reflection. Every surface gleams, Every reflection is doubled in the rain-slicked walkways and windows. You pass a small market square that opens out from the canal, its cobblestones dark and gleaming in the lamplight. Market stalls stand empty and covered, waiting for tomorrow's bustle and energy. A fountain in the center of the square sends up a gentle spray that mingles with the falling rain, creating patterns of light and motion that hypnotize and soothe. The sound of the fountain adds another layer to the night's music, a constant, gentle rushing that harmonizes perfectly with the rain's percussion. The canal system reveals itself to be more complex than you first realized. Side channels branch off at regular intervals, disappearing into the darkness between buildings. Some are narrow enough that you could almost touch both sides at once. Others open into small harbors where larger boats wait for morning. Each glimpse into these water-veined arteries of the city suggests stories and possibilities, quiet adventures that unfold in the spaces between the more traveled routes. Your boatman navigates these choices with the confidence of long familiarity, choosing the main channel that will carry you on the longest, most peaceful journey through the city's heart. His movements remain unhurried, economical, perfectly attuned to the rhythm of rain and water and night. You trust his choices completely, surrendering any need to know where you're going or when you'll arrive. The journey itself has become the destination. A small island appears in the middle of the canal, crowned with a single large tree whose branches spread protectively over a tiny garden. The tree's leaves catch the rain and release it in larger drops that fall with a different sound. A deeper, more resonant pattering that speaks of the forest, of growth and shelter, and the endless cycle of water between earth and sky. As you pass the island, you catch the scent of wet earth and growing things, a reminder of the natural world that persists even in the heart of the sleeping city. The buildings here are taller, their upper stories disappearing into the rain-dark sky. Balconies appear at different levels, some enclosed with glass, others open to the weather. A few show signs of life, a light left on, curtains drawn but glowing softly from within. Most are dark, their inhabitants long since settled into sleep, trusting the night and the rain to keep them safe until morning. You pass beneath another bridge, this one busier during the day, judging by the wider walkways on either side. Now it stands empty except for the rain, which is collected in every hollow and depression, creating temporary pools that reflect the sparse lighting. The sound of your passage echoes more prominently here, the splash of the pole and the gentle wake of the boat magnified by the stone arch overhead. As you emerge from beneath the bridge, the canal opens into a broader waterway where several channels converge. Here, the rain seems to fall more freely, unobstructed by the close-pressing buildings. You can see farther in every direction, taking in the full scope of the city's nighttime beauty. Lights twinkle in windows and along walkways, each one softened by the veil of rain into something magical and welcoming. A night barge passes in the distance, its running lights visible through the rain. The boat moves slowly, heavily laden with cargo that will reach its destination while the city sleeps. There's something deeply satisfying about this. The idea that commerce and life continue their essential rhythms even in the darkness, that the city breathes and functions and provides for itself through all the hours of day and night. The rain has settled into a steady, gentle rhythm now, neither increasing nor decreasing, simply being present as a constant companion to your journey. It patters on the canvas overhead, streams down the sides of buildings, creates countless tiny rivers in the gutters and eaves around you. The sound has become so much a part of the night that you can hardly imagine the world without it. Your blanket has kept you perfectly warm and dry, creating a small cocoon of comfort within the larger embrace of the rain-washed night. You pull it closer around your shoulders and settle deeper into the cushioned bench, feeling your body relax more completely with each gentle rock of the boat. The motion has become as natural as breathing, as essential as heartbeat. A small cafe appears on your right, Its windows dark, but its awning still extended over empty tables and chairs. You can almost smell the phantom aromas of coffee and fresh bread, can almost hear the ghost of daytime conversation and laughter. But the night version has its own appeal, the promise of shelter, the suggestion of warmth and human connection waiting for the return of daylight. The boatman continues his steady work, the poles sliding into the water with practiced ease, finding purchase on the canal bottom, propelling you forward with movements so smooth they seem almost automatic. Yet you can see the subtle adjustments he makes, the way he reads the water and the current, the small corrections that keep you moving in perfect alignment with the channel. There's an art to it, a meditation in motion that speaks of years of experience and deep familiarity with these waters. You pass a series of houseboats moored along one bank, each one unique in its character and decoration. Some are traditional in design, their lines echoing the working boats of generations past. Others show more modern influences, with solar panels and satellite dishes speaking of contemporary life adapted to the water. All are dark now, their occupants presumably asleep, rocked by the same gentle motion that soothes you on your journey. The canal curves again, and you find yourself in a district where the buildings are older still, their walls thick with centuries of weather and time. Here, the rain has darkened the stone to almost black, creating dramatic contrasts with the warm yellow glow of the few lights that illuminate the walkways. Windows are smaller here, set deep into the walls, their glass reflecting the boat's lantern as you pass. A small park opens up on your left, its trees heavy with rain and shadow. You can just make out the shapes of benches and pathways, all empty now, but somehow still inviting. During the day, this would be a place of quiet refuge, where people could sit and watch the boats go by while listening to the sound of water against stone. Now it offers a different kind of peace. The deep rest of growing things in darkness, of earth drinking rain, of roots extending deeper into the nurturing soil. The rain continues its gentle conversation with every surface, creating a symphony of subtle sounds that blend and separate and blend again. The percussion of drops on canvas overhead, the whisper of rain on water, the gentle gurgle of gutters and downspouts, the distant murmur of a lock, or we're somewhere in the darkness. All of it combines to create a soundscape that invites deep relaxation, that encourages the mind to let go of its busy patterns and settle into the rhythm of the night. You close your eyes again and focus on your breathing, allowing it to synchronize with the boat's gentle motion. Each breath in carries the clean scent of rain and water. Each breath out releases the tensions and concerns of the day. The blanket around your shoulders feels heavier now, weighted with relaxation, and you sink deeper into the cushioned seat as your body surrenders more completely to the journey. When you open your eyes, you notice that the character of the neighborhoods has changed again. Here, the buildings are more residential, with small gardens that extend down to the water's edge. Even in the darkness and rain, you can sense the care that has gone into these spaces. The placement of a bench to catch the morning sun, the arrangement of potted plants on a small dock, the string of lights that would illuminate an evening gathering in better weather. A small footbridge spans the canal ahead, so low that the boatman must duck slightly as you pass beneath it. The bridge is barely wide enough for two people to pass, clearly intended for pedestrians only. You imagine couples strolling across it during evening walks, pausing to lean on the railings and watch the boats go by. Now it stands empty in the rain, its wet stones gleaming in the lamplight, patient and timeless. The rain has created temporary waterfalls wherever there are gaps between buildings or openings in roof lines. These small cascades catch the light as they fall, creating brief moments of beauty that appear and disappear as you move past them. Some fall directly into the canal, creating tiny disturbances on the water's surface. Others splash onto walkways or into rain barrels positioned to catch them for tomorrow's gardens. You pass a small marina where pleasure boats bob gently at their moorings, protected by floating docks and covered slips. The masts of sailboats disappear upward into the rain-dark sky, their rigging creating a gentle chorus of subtle sounds as the wind moves through the lines. Even in rest, even in the protective embrace of the marina, these boats seem ready for adventure, for the moment when their owners will return to take them out onto broader waters. The canal begins to widen as you approach what seems to be the city's heart. Here, grander buildings line the waterway, former palaces and guild halls, their facades elaborately decorated even though the details are lost in shadow. These structures speak of the city's prosperous past, when the canals were highways of commerce and the water carried the wealth of nations between these proud buildings. A clock tower rises ahead, its face illuminated against the dark sky. The hands show that the night is well advanced, that most of the city has been asleep for hours. Yet you feel no urgency, no need to hurry toward any destination. The time seems irrelevant in this gentle bubble of motion and rain, where the only schedule that matters is the rhythm of your breathing and the boat's steady progress through the water. The rain intensifies slightly, and the sound on the canvas overhead becomes richer, more complex. You can hear individual drops now, each one contributing its small voice to the larger chorus. The boatman adjusts his wide-brimmed hat and continues his work, seemingly as comfortable in heavy rain as in light mist. His waterproof jacket gleams in the lantern light, beaded with moisture that rolls off in tiny streams. You pass a series of small shops whose darkened windows hint at their daytime purposes: a bakery, a bookstore, a shop selling handmade pottery. Their signs swing gently in the rain-laden breeze, and you imagine the warmth and activity they'll contain when morning comes. But for now, they sleep as peacefully as their owners, their promises of bread and stories and beautiful objects waiting for the return of daylight. The boat rocks slightly as you pass the wake of another vessel, probably a police patrol making its quiet rounds through the city's waterways. The disturbance is gentle, just enough to remind you of the boat's presence on the water, of the fact that you're floating rather than walking, carried by currents and tides rather than your own effort. The sensation is deeply soothing, a return to some fundamental human memory of being rocked and cared for. A small island appears in the middle of the waterway, this one developed into a tiny park with a few benches and a small pavilion. The pavilion's roof sheds rain in steady streams, and you can see that someone has left flowers there, perhaps a memorial, perhaps simply a gesture of beauty offered to the night and the water. The flowers bow under the weight of rain, but they seem to glow with their own soft light in the darkness. The boatman navigates around the island with practiced ease, choosing the channel that will give you the best view of the city's lights reflecting on the water. These reflections have multiplied in the rain, each light source creating not just one image on the water's surface, but dozens, scattered and reformed by every ripple and drop. The effect is magical, as if the city exists simultaneously above and below the waterline, real and reflected, solid and fluid. You pass beneath what must be the oldest bridge on your route, its stones worn smooth by centuries of weather and time. The archway is lower here, more intimate, and the sound of rain changes dramatically as you pass through, becoming fuller, more resonant, like being inside a gentle drum. Water is pooled in every depression of the ancient stonework, creating temporary mirrors that catch and scatter the boat's lantern light. As you emerge from the bridge, the canal opens into a large circular basin where several waterways converge. This is clearly one of the city's major intersections, a place where boats from different districts meet and mingle. During the day, it would be busy with traffic. Water taxis and cargo barges, tour boats and private craft all navigating the converging channels. Now it lies peaceful and empty except for your boat and the gentle rain that falls equally on all the water's surface. The basin is surrounded by some of the city's most beautiful buildings, their facades reflecting in the rain-darkened water. You can make out the shapes of balconies and ornate window frames, the suggestions of carved decorations and architectural details that daylight would reveal in full glory. But the night version has its own magic, softer, more mysterious, inviting imagination to fill in the details that shadow conceals. A fountain stands at the center of the basin, its multiple tiers sending up sprays of water that mingle with the falling rain. The fountain's lights, probably spectacular during the day, are dimmed now to a soft glow that illuminates the water without disturbing the night's peace. The sound it makes is constant and soothing, a liquid voice that harmonizes perfectly with the rain's gentle percussion. Your boatman chooses one of the exit channels with the same calm confidence he's shown throughout the journey. This new waterway is narrower than the last, more intimate, lined with buildings that seem to lean in protectively over the water. Here, the rain creates more intricate patterns as it runs down walls and collects in gutters, each building contributing its own small symphony to the night's music. You notice how completely your body has relaxed into the journey. Your shoulders have dropped, your breathing has deepened, and there's a pleasant heaviness in your limbs that speaks of approaching sleep. The boat's motion, the rain's rhythm, the gentle warmth of the blanket around you, all of it combines to create the perfect conditions for rest. For the kind of deep peace that comes when you stop trying to control your experience and simply allow yourself to be carried. A small church appears on your right, its spire modest but elegant against the rain-dark sky. Light glows softly through its stained glass windows, probably from sanctuary lamps that burn throughout the night. The building exudes a sense of quiet sanctuary, of spiritual peace that extends out over the water like a benediction. Even if you're not religious, there's something deeply comforting about the presence of such spaces in the urban landscape, anchors of contemplation and hope. The canal curves gently to the left, and you find yourself in a district of smaller, more intimate buildings. Here, the architecture speaks of craftspeople and artists, of lives lived close to the water and in harmony with its rhythms. Small workshops occupy the ground floors of some buildings, their windows dark now, but suggesting the creativity and skill that flourish here during daylight hours. A cat appears on one of the walkways, picking its way carefully through the rain. It pauses to groom itself under the slight protection of an overhanging eave, then continues on its nocturnal business. There's something deeply satisfying about this glimpse of independent life continuing its patterns regardless of weather or time, a reminder that the city is alive in ways that go beyond human activity. The rain has found every surface and made it beautiful. Walls gleam with moisture, windows reflect the night in perfect detail, and every horizontal surface has become a temporary pool that mirrors the sky. The whole city seems to have been transformed into a liquid sculpture, constantly changing as the rain continues its gentle work of washing and renewing. You pass a series of artist studios, recognizable by their large windows and the suggestion of creative chaos just visible in the darkness beyond the glass. Even closed and empty, these spaces radiate potential, the promise of tomorrow's inspiration, of hands shaping clay or brushes creating beauty on canvas. The rain streams down their tall windows like tears of joy, blessing the creativity that shelters within. The boat continues its steady progress, and you realize that you've lost all sense of time or distance. The journey has become timeless, existing in its own pocket of peace separate from the measured hours of ordinary life. You have no desire to know when it will end, no impatience for arrival. The traveling itself has become a form of meditation, a moving prayer of surrender to the night and the rain and the gentle rocking of the boat. A small park opens up on your left, its trees heavy with rain and shadow. You can just make out the shape of a playground. It swings and slides standing empty in the darkness. During the day, this would be filled with the laughter of children, the watchful presence of parents, the endless energy of play and discovery. Now it rests in peaceful silence, waiting for tomorrow's joy to return. The canal narrows again as you enter what seems to be the city's oldest district. Here, the buildings lean toward each other across the water, their upper stories nearly touching. The effect is intimate and protective, like traveling through a tunnel of architecture and history. The rain echoes more prominently here, bouncing between the close walls and creating a richer, more complex soundscape. Windows at different levels show the faint glow of night lights or reading lamps, reminders that even in sleep, people maintain small islands of illumination against the darkness. You wonder about the lives behind those windows, night shift workers perhaps, or insomniacs finding solace in books, or new parents keeping watch over sleeping children. All of them part of the city's quiet nighttime community, all connected by the shared experience of being awake while the majority sleep. A small dock appears ahead, where a water taxi would normally wait for passengers. The boat rests empty now, rocking gently in the rain, its canvas top beaded with moisture. There's something poetic about this, the idea of transportation at rest, of vessels waiting patiently for their next purpose while time flows around them like water. The boatman continues his rhythmic work, each pole stroke as measured and graceful as the last. His breathing has synchronized with his movements, creating a meditation in motion that seems to extend beyond his physical actions to embrace the entire journey. You feel included in this meditation, your own breathing and heartbeat becoming part of the larger rhythm that carries you through the sleeping city. The rain intensifies again, and the sound on the canvas overhead becomes almost musical. A gentle drumming that seems to follow its own complex rhythms and patterns. You close your eyes and listen more carefully, hearing how the rain creates different sounds on different surfaces, the deep patter on canvas, the sharp tap on metal railings, the soft whisper on water, the hollow echo in gutters and downspouts. When you open your eyes, you notice that the district has changed character once more. Here, the buildings are more modern, their clean lines and larger windows speaking of recent construction or renovation. Yet they've been designed to harmonize with the older architecture, creating a seamless blend of past and present that honors the city's history while embracing its future. A small cafe boat is moored along one bank, clearly closed for the night but somehow still radiating warmth and welcome. You can imagine it during the day. Coffee brewing, conversation flowing, people gathering to share stories and watch the passing parade of boats. The rain beads on its windows and runs off its awnings in steady streams, but even closed and empty, it maintains its promise of human connection and comfort. The canal opens into another small basin, this one surrounded by residential buildings whose lighted windows create a warm constellation reflected in the dark water. Some windows show the blue glow of late-night television, others the warm yellow of reading lamps, and a few the soft flicker of candles or fireplaces. Each light represents a life continuing its quiet patterns, and you feel a deep connection to these unknown neighbors who share your experience of being awake in the gentle rain. A stone quay extends into the water on your right, probably a place where residents can moor private boats or simply sit and watch the water go by. A few benches line the quay, their wet surfaces gleaming in the lamplight. During warmer weather, these would be gathering places, spots where neighbors might meet for evening conversations or where solitary contemplators could find peace in the presence of moving water. The boat rocks gently as you pass the wake of a night delivery barge, its lights disappearing around a distant bend. The motion is soothing, a reminder that you're part of the city's liquid transportation network, carried by the same waters that bring goods and people throughout the urban waterways. The rain continues to fall, adding its voice to the splash of small waves against the boat's hull. You pass beneath another bridge, this one decorated with hanging planters that drip steadily in the rain. Even in the darkness, you can sense the care someone has taken to beautify this small corner of the city, to add life and color to the utilitarian structure. The plants bow under the weight of collected rainwater, but they seem to glow with health and vitality, nourished by the night's gentle shower. The canal curves to the right, and you find yourself in a district of galleries and cultural spaces. Even closed and darkened, these buildings radiate creativity and intellectual energy. You imagine them filled with art and ideas, with people exploring beauty and meaning through painted canvases and sculpted forms. The rain streams down their large windows like liquid thoughts, connecting the interior worlds of imagination with the exterior reality of night and weather. A small island appears in the middle of the waterway, crowned with a single large tree whose branches spread protectively over a bench and a small garden. The tree's leaves catch the rain and release it in larger drops that create a different rhythm as they hit the ground, a deeper, more resonant sound that speaks of forests and growth and the endless conversation between sky and earth. Your blanket has become heavier with relaxation, and you adjust it around your shoulders as you settle even more deeply into the cushioned seat. The boat's motion has become as natural as breathing, as essential as heartbeat. You're no longer conscious of being transported. Instead, you feel as though you're part of the water itself, flowing with the current through the heart of the sleeping city. The rain has established its own geography now, creating temporary streams and pools wherever gravity and architecture allow. You watch these miniature watersheds forming and changing, tiny rivers that will exist only until the rain stops and the sun evaporates their brief existence. There's something profound in this impermanence, this reminder that beauty can be fleeting and all the more precious for its temporary nature. A night market appears ahead, its stalls closed and covered, but still suggesting the bustling commerce that will return with daylight. The rain patters on tarpaulins and awnings, creating a complex percussion that would be the background music for tomorrow's buying and selling. Now it sounds like a lullaby, gentle and rhythmic, inviting deeper relaxation and peaceful dreams. The boatman navigates past the market with easy familiarity, choosing a channel that gives you a view of the stalls without disturbing the vendor's careful arrangements. His respect for the sleeping marketplace speaks to a deeper understanding of the city's rhythms, an appreciation for the delicate balance between movement and rest that allows urban life to flourish. You close your eyes again and focus on the rain sound, allowing it to wash through your consciousness like a gentle tide. Each drop seems to carry away a small piece of tension, a fragment of worry, a particle of the day's accumulated stress. You breathe deeper, feeling the clean air fill your lungs, feeling your heartbeat slow to match the boat's peaceful rhythm. When you open your eyes, the city seems to have grown even more magical. The rain has intensified the reflection of every light, creating a world that exists as much below the water's surface as above it. Buildings appear to extend downward into liquid depths, their windows glowing in the canal's dark mirror. You're traveling through a doubled city, real and reflected, solid and fluid, waking and dreaming. A small residential area opens up on both sides of the canal, with houses that seem to grow directly from the water's edge. Small gardens cascade down to private docks where rowing boats wait for morning adventures. The rain has turned every leaf and flower into a jewel, each one catching and holding light in its accumulated droplets. Even in the darkness, you can sense the love and care that has gone into creating these intimate landscapes. The boat continues its journey through this watery neighborhood, past sleeping houses where families rest behind glowing windows. Children dream of tomorrow's play while parents find respite from the day's responsibilities. The rain provides a gentle soundtrack to their sleep, a natural white noise that masks the minor sounds of the city and creates perfect conditions for deep rest. A church bell tolls softly in the distance, marking another quarter hour in the night's progression. The sound carries clearly through the rain-washed air, a temporal anchor in the timeless flow of your journey. Yet you feel no urgency, no need to track the passage of time. The traveling itself has become meditation enough, a moving prayer that needs no beginning or end. The canal begins to widen as you approach what seems to be the city's cultural heart. Museums and theaters line the waterway, their neoclassical facades noble and welcoming even in darkness. The rain has washed their stone steps and columns clean, preparing them for tomorrow's visitors who will come to experience beauty and truth in their galleries and performance halls. A small fleet of tour boats rests at a dock ahead, their canvas tops beaded with rain, their empty seats waiting for daylight passengers. During the busy season, these boats carry visitors through the same waters you're traveling now, sharing the city's liquid heart with people from around the world. Tonight they rest peacefully, rocked by the same gentle motion that soothes you on your solitary journey. The rain has become your constant companion now, so integral to the experience that you can hardly imagine the journey without it. Its rhythm has merged with your heartbeat. Its sound has become the background music of your deepest relaxation. Every surface it touches becomes more beautiful, more luminous, more perfectly suited to this midnight voyage through the sleeping city. You pass a small botanical garden that extends down to the water's edge, its greenhouse glowing softly in the darkness. Inside, you can imagine tropical plants and exotic flowers thriving in their climate-controlled environment, while outside their hardier cousins drink the night rain and settle deeper into their soil. The contrast speaks to life's adaptability, its ability to find beauty and growth in every condition. The boatman adjusts his grip on the pole and continues his steady rhythm, each movement as measured and graceful as a dance. His presence has become part of the boat's essence, as natural and necessary as the hull beneath you or the canvas overhead. You trust his navigation completely, surrendering to his expertise and finding peace in the knowledge that you're in capable hands. A series of small bookshops appears along the left bank, their windows dark, but somehow still radiating the warmth of stories and ideas. Even closed, they seem to hum with potential thousands of voices waiting to be heard, countless worlds ready to be explored. The rain streams down their windows like liquid thoughts, connecting the interior universe of imagination with the exterior reality of night and weather. The canal curves gently to the left, and you find yourself approaching what appears to be the city's heart, a grand circular basin surrounded by the most important buildings. Here, the rain takes on an almost ceremonial quality, blessing the civic monuments and cultural institutions that define the community's identity. Each droplet seems to carry with it the prayers and hopes of generations who have lived and worked and dreamed in this place. As you enter the basin, the boat's motion changes subtly, adjusting to the broader water and the different currents that flow between the converging channels. The change is gentle but noticeable, like moving from a quiet conversation to a peaceful meditation. You settle even more deeply into your seat, feeling the new rhythm work its way through your body and into your consciousness. The rain continues its gentle percussion on the canvas overhead, a sound that has become as essential as your own breathing. Each drop seems to carry its own small blessing, washing away the accumulated tensions of waking life and preparing your mind for the profound rest that waits beyond the journey's end. The basin is surrounded by buildings that speak of civic pride and cultural achievement. A library with tall arched windows, a concert hall whose entrance is flanked by columns that gleam wetly in the rain, a museum whose classical facade suggests treasures of art and history waiting within. All of them rest peacefully in the darkness, their daytime purposes suspended while they participate in the city's nocturnal meditation. A magnificent fountain stands at the center of the basin, its multiple levels sending up gentle sprays that catch the sparse lighting and create brief moments of liquid sculpture. The fountain's voice blends seamlessly with the rain's percussion, creating a layered symphony of water in all its forms: falling, flowing, spraying, pooling. The sound washes over you like a sonic bath, cleansing your thoughts and preparing your spirit for deeper peace. Your boatman navigates around the fountain with practiced ease, choosing a course that maximizes the gentle rocking motion while providing the most peaceful view of the surrounding architecture. His movements remain unhurried, economical, perfectly attuned to the night's languid rhythm. You realize that this journey is as much as meditation as yours, a nightly practice of presence and skill that brings peace to both guide and passenger. As you complete the circuit around the fountain, you notice how the rain has transformed every surface into a work of art. The whetstone of the buildings creates a canvas for reflected light, while puddles on walkways mirror the night sky in perfect detail. Window boxes overflow with plants that bow gracefully under their burden of collected rainwater, each leaf a tiny reservoir that will nourish growth through tomorrow's sunshine. The boat glides toward one of the basin's exit channels, this one narrower and more intimate than the waterway that brought you here. As you enter it, the sound changes, the rain's echo becomes more pronounced between the closer buildings, creating a more enclosed and protective acoustic environment. It's like entering a liquid cathedral, where every sound is amplified and sanctified by the architecture of stone and water. Here, the buildings seem older, more weathered, their facades telling stories of centuries of rain and sunshine, winter storms, and summer calms. Each structure has its own relationship with the weather, its own way of channeling water and light. You pass beneath balconies that drip steadily, their iron railings beaded with moisture that catches the boat's lantern light like strings of diamonds. A small cafe appears on your right, its tables and chairs carefully stacked and covered for the night. During the day, this would be a gathering place where neighbors share coffee and conversation while watching the boats pass by. Now it stands as a promise of human warmth and connection, waiting for the sun to call people back to its welcoming embrace. The rain drums gently on its striped awning, creating a rhythm that suggests tomorrow's laughter and talk. The canal narrows further, and you find yourself in what feels like the city's most intimate district. Here, houses lean toward each other across the water, their upper floors nearly touching. Gardens cascade down to private docks where small rowing boats wait beneath protective covers. The rain has made everything gleam: the wet brick walls, the polished wood of dock railings, the glass of windows that reflect your passage like watchful eyes. You pass a small bookshop whose owner has left a lamp burning in the window, creating a warm pool of light that spills across the rain-slicked walkway. Books are visible on the shelves beyond the glass, their spines creating a colorful mosaic of human knowledge and imagination. The sight fills you with contentment, the knowledge that stories and ideas continue to exist, patient and eternal, waiting for readers to discover them. A night heron stands motionless on a wooden post, so still that you almost miss it in the darkness. The bird seems perfectly adapted to this liquid world, comfortable with rain and night and the gentle motion of water. It watches your boat pass with calm attention before returning to its patient vigil, a reminder that the city's waterways support life in all its forms. The rain intensifies slightly, and the sound on the canvas overhead becomes richer, more layered. You can distinguish individual drops now, each one contributing its small voice to the larger chorus. The increased intensity creates a more complete cocoon of sound, wrapping you even more thoroughly in the night's gentle embrace. Your breathing deepens automatically, and you feel your consciousness beginning to drift like the boat itself, carried by currents of peace and relaxation. The boatman adjusts his waterproof jacket and continues his rhythmic work, Each pull stroke is measured and graceful as a meditation in motion. His breathing remains steady and deep, synchronized with his movements, creating a human rhythm that harmonizes perfectly with the rain's percussion and the water's gentle lapping against the boat's hull. You pass beneath a low bridge where water has collected in every depression of the ancient stonework, creating temporary mirrors that fragment and multiply the boat's lantern light. The acoustic changes dramatically as you move through the arch. The rain's sound becoming fuller and more resonant before opening again to the gentler percussion on canvas. It's like breathing in and out, a respiratory rhythm that the entire city seems to share. A small market square opens up on your left, its cobblestones dark and gleaming in the lamplight. Market stalls stand covered for the night, their colorful awnings barely visible in the darkness but still suggesting tomorrow's abundance, fresh bread and flowers, handmade crafts and local delicacies. The rain patters on their protective covers, creating a complex rhythm that speaks of commerce suspended, of human activity paused but not ended. The canal curves to the right, and you find yourself in a district of artist studios where large windows hint at the creative work that happens during daylight hours. Even dark and empty, these spaces radiate potential: easels waiting for painters, wheels ready for potters, benches prepared for sculptors. The rain streams down their tall windows like liquid inspiration, blessing the creativity that will flourish when morning returns. A small island appears in the middle of the waterway, so tiny it holds only a single bench and a lamppost surrounded by carefully tended flowers. The bench faces your direction, and for a moment you imagine sitting there during the day, watching boats like yours pass by while listening to the water's gentle conversation with the stone embankment. The thought brings deep peace, the idea of such perfect spots for contemplation existing throughout the city's waterways. Your blanket has grown heavier with the accumulated weight of relaxation, and you adjust it around your shoulders as you settle even deeper into the journey's embrace. The boat's motion has become so natural that you feel as though you're floating on air rather than water, carried by invisible currents that respond to your deepest need for peace and rest. The rain has established its own geography now, creating temporary rivers wherever roof lines and gutters direct its flow. You watch these miniature watersheds forming and dissolving, brief streams that exist only during the rain and will vanish with tomorrow's sun. There's profound beauty in this impermanence, this reminder that some of life's most precious moments are also its most fleeting. A night cafe boat drifts past in the opposite direction, its windows glowing warmly and its small crew working quietly to serve the city's night workers, police officers, medical personnel, and others whose jobs keep them awake while the majority sleep. The brief encounter reminds you that even in the deepest night, human care and service continue, that the city's heart never truly stops beating. The canal begins to narrow again as you enter what seems to be a residential neighborhood where families have lived for generations. Here, the buildings show the accumulated patina of time, walls slightly weathered, steps worn smooth by countless footfalls, window boxes that have been tended by multiple generations of gardeners. The rain adds another layer to this patina, darkening surfaces and creating new patterns of beauty that will disappear with dawn. You pass a small school whose playground equipment stands empty in the rain, swings moving slightly in the night breeze, slides gleaming wetly under the sparse lighting. During the day, this space would ring with children's laughter and energy, but now it rests in perfect peace, waiting for tomorrow's joy to return. The sight fills you with tender emotion, the recognition of cycles of activity and rest that govern all life. A clock tower appears ahead, its illuminated face showing that the night has progressed well into its deepest hours. Yet you feel no fatigue, no desire for the journey to end. The traveling itself has become a form of rest, more restorative than sleep, more peaceful than any stationary refuge. Time seems irrelevant in this moving meditation, this liquid prayer that carries you through the heart of the sleeping city. The rain continues its gentle percussion, sometimes growing slightly heavier, sometimes softening to barely more than mist, but never stopping entirely. It has become the soundtrack of your journey, the rhythm that coordinates your breathing, the sound that defines the space between waking and sleeping. Each drop seems to carry away another fragment of tension, another particle of the day's accumulated stress. A small museum appears on your right, its classical columns reflecting the boat's lantern light in their rain-slicked surfaces. During the day, visitors would climb these steps to explore treasures of art and history, but now the building rests in dignified silence, its contents safe and peaceful in their climate-controlled galleries. The rain blesses the entrance like holy water, sanctifying the human quest for beauty and knowledge. The boatman's movements remain perfectly rhythmic, each pole stroke a meditation in motion that seems to extend beyond physical action to embrace something essential about existence itself. His presence has become integral to the journey's peace, a human element that transforms simple transportation into something approaching spiritual practice. You trust his navigation completely, surrendering any need to know where you're going or how long it will take. You pass a series of small workshops where craftspeople ply trades that have been passed down through generations: glass blowing, woodworking, metalsmithing. Even closed and dark, these spaces radiate the satisfaction of skilled hands creating useful beauty, of ancient techniques adapted to contemporary needs. The rain streams down their windows like liquid skill, blessing the marriage of tradition and innovation. The canal opens into a small harbor where fishing boats rest at their moorings, their masts disappearing upward into the rain-dark sky. These vessels speak of the city's connection to larger waters, to rivers and seas that extend beyond the urban boundaries. Even at rest, they seem poised for adventure, ready to carry their crews toward distant horizons when dawn breaks and tides turn favorable. A small chapel appears on an island in the middle of the harbor, its simple spire modest but elegant against the clouded sky. A single light glows in its window, probably a sanctuary lamp that burns continuously as a sign of hope and faith. The building seems to offer its blessing to all who pass, regardless of their beliefs, a reminder that the human spirit seeks transcendence in every age and circumstance. Your boat navigates around the island with easy grace, the boatman's pole finding purchase on the harbor bottom with practiced precision. The motion changes slightly in the broader water, becoming more wave-like, more oceanic, as if the boat remembers its connection to larger rhythms that extend beyond the city's protected waterways. The rain has intensified again, creating a more complete acoustic cocoon that wraps around your consciousness like the softest blanket. You close your eyes and listen to its complex layers, the percussion on canvas overhead, the whisper against water, the gurgle in gutters and downspouts, the distant murmur of streams flowing toward storm drains. All of it combines to create a symphony of liquid sound that invites deeper and deeper relaxation. When you open your eyes, you find that the boat has entered a new channel that leads away from the harbor. This waterway is narrower than the last, more intimate, lined with buildings that seem to lean protectively over the water. Here, the rain creates more intricate patterns as it cascades from roof lines and balconies, each building contributing its own small waterfall to the night's liquid architecture. A small library appears on your left, its tall windows dark, but somehow still radiating the warmth of knowledge and story. Even closed, it seems to hum with the voices of authors and the dreams of readers, thousands of books waiting patiently for morning to bring new seekers of wisdom and entertainment. The rain streams down its windows like liquid thoughts, connecting the interior world of imagination with the exterior reality of night and weather. You pass a district of small galleries where local artists display their work during the day. Each darkened window suggests treasures of creativity waiting within. Paintings that capture light and shadow, sculptures that freeze motion in eternal forms, photographs that preserve precious moments. The rain adds its own artistry to their facades, creating temporary masterpieces that will exist only until dawn. The canal curves gently to the left, and you find yourself in what appears to be the city's most ancient quarter. Here, the buildings seem to grow directly from the water, their foundations lost in centuries of accumulated history. Windows are smaller and set deeper into thick walls, speaking of times when glass was precious and warmth was carefully conserved. The rain darkens these ancient stones to near black, creating dramatic contrast with the warm yellow glow of the few lights that illuminate the narrow walkways. A small dock extends into the water on your right, clearly a place where residents can moor private boats or simply sit and contemplate the passing water. A single bench faces the canal, its wet surface gleaming in the lamplight, waiting for tomorrow's solitary contemplators or evening conversations. The sight fills you with deep contentment, the knowledge that such perfect spots for peaceful reflection exist throughout the city's liquid network. The boat rocks gently as you pass the wake of a night delivery barge, its lights already disappearing around a distant bend. The motion is soothing, a reminder that you're part of the city's continuing life, carried by the same waters that bring necessities and luxuries to sleeping neighborhoods. The rain continues to fall, adding its voice to the gentle splash of small waves against the boat's hull. You pass beneath another bridge, this one so old that its stones seem to have grown together like living tissue. Water has collected in every depression and joint, creating a complex network of temporary pools and streams that will exist only as long as the rain continues. The acoustic changes dramatically as you move through the arch, the rain sound becoming deeper and more resonant before opening again to the gentler percussion on canvas. A night market appears ahead, its stalls covered but still suggesting the bustling commerce that will return with daylight. Vendors have carefully protected their goods against the weather, creating a landscape of tarpaulins and awnings that channel the rain into carefully directed streams. The sound is complex and rhythmic, like a percussion ensemble playing a gentle lullaby for the sleeping city. The boatman navigates past the market with respectful care, choosing a course that disturbs nothing while providing the most peaceful passage. His attention to such detail speaks to a deeper philosophy of movement through the world, taking what you need while leaving everything else undisturbed, traveling with awareness and respect for all that surrounds the journey. The canal begins to widen as you approach what seems to be another of the city's major intersections. Here, several waterways converge in a star pattern, creating currents and countercurrents that require skilled navigation. Your boatman reads the water like a familiar text, adjusting his rhythm and direction to work with the natural flows rather than against them. A central island stands in the middle of the intersection, crowned with a small park where trees heavy with rain bow gracefully toward the water. Even in darkness, you can sense the careful design of this space, paths that curve naturally, benches positioned to catch morning sun or evening shade, plantings that provide beauty through all seasons. The rain has made everything glisten, turning leaves and flowers into jewels that will sparkle when daylight returns. The boat follows one of the exit channels, this one broader and more ceremonial than the intimate waterways you've been traveling. Here, the buildings are grander, their facades speaking of civic importance and cultural significance. Museums, concert halls, and government buildings line the waterway, all resting peacefully in the rain while their daytime purposes wait for morning's return. A flotilla of tour boats rests at a dock ahead, their canvas tops beaded with moisture, their empty seats aligned like pews in a liquid cathedral. During busy seasons, These vessels carry visitors through the same waters you're experiencing now, sharing the city's aquatic heart with people from around the world. Tonight they rest in perfect stillness, participating in the city's nocturnal meditation. The rain has become your constant companion, so integral to the experience that you can hardly remember what the world sounds like without it. Its rhythm has synchronized with your heartbeat. Its gentle percussion has become the background music of your deepest relaxation. Every surface it touches becomes more beautiful, more luminous, more perfectly suited to this midnight voyage through the sleeping city. You close your eyes and focus entirely on the sound, allowing it to wash through your consciousness like a cleansing tide. Each drop seems to carry away another fragment of tension, another particle of worry, another piece of the accumulated stress that bodies and minds collect during waking hours. Your breathing deepens automatically, and you feel yourself drifting toward the perfect rest that waits just beyond the edge of conscious thought. The journey continues through the liquid heart of the sleeping city, the boat carrying you deeper into peace with every gentle stroke of the boatman's pole. The rain falls softly on the canvas overhead, blessing your passage with its ancient rhythm, promising rest and renewal in its gentle, endless song. You surrender to the motion, to the sound, to the perfect peace of traveling slowly through a world washed clean by night and rain, carried toward dreams on currents of liquid starlight. As the canal curves one final time, you feel the boat beginning to slow, though the motion remains as gentle as ever. The boatman's movements become even more careful, more reverent, as if he understands that this journey is drawing to its natural close. The rain continues to fall, but now it seems to be singing a lullaby, each drop a note in a song of rest and peace that will carry you safely into sleep. The buildings here are simple, residential, their windows glowing softly with the warm light of home. You pass beneath one last bridge, its stones worn smooth by centuries of weather, its archway embracing your passage like a benediction. As you emerge, you see ahead the place where your journey will end, a quiet dock where other boats rest peacefully in the rain, their occupants already deep in dreams. The boat comes to rest so gently that you barely feel it, settling into stillness like a sigh of contentment. The boatman secures his pole and turns to you with the same quiet smile he offered at the beginning, his eyes reflecting the wisdom of countless nights spent carrying passengers through the peaceful waters of the sleeping city. He knows that his work is complete, that he has given you exactly what you needed, not just transportation, but transformation, not just movement, but meditation. You remain seated for a moment, wrapped in your blanket, listening to the rain's gentle percussion on the canvas overhead. The sound that has been your companion throughout this journey will continue through the night, blessing the city with its cleansing touch, washing the world clean for tomorrow's awakening. But for now, it sings only of rest, of peace, of the deep contentment that comes from surrendering completely to the rhythm of night and rain and the gentle rocking of a boat on quiet water. But the journey is not yet complete. The boatman catches your eye and gestures gently toward another channel, one that leads deeper into the city's watery heart. You nod, understanding without words that there are more peaceful waters to explore, more quiet districts to discover, more rain-blessed moments to savor before this night meditation comes to its natural end. The boat glides into this new waterway, narrower than any you've traveled so far. Here, the buildings seem to whisper to each other across the water, their facades so close you could almost reach out and touch them. The rain has created curtains of water that fall from every eave and gutter, turning the canal into a liquid gallery where light and shadow dance in endless, gentle patterns. You pass a row of ancient houses whose foundations disappear into the dark water, as if they've grown from the canal bed itself over centuries of patient existence. Each building tells its own story through the language of weathered stone and worn wooden doors, of generations who have lived and loved and dreamed behind these rain-washed walls. The windows glow softly, some showing the warm yellow of incandescent bulbs, others the cooler blue-white of modern lighting, creating a timeline of technology and human comfort stretching across the decades. A small wooden bridge appears ahead, so low that both you and the boatman must duck as you pass beneath it. The structure is barely wide enough for a single person, clearly built for intimate crossings rather than busy thoroughfares. You can almost hear the echo of footsteps from lovers who have crossed here on evening walks, or solitary contemplators making their way home through the gentle rain. The wood gleams with moisture, darkened by decades of weather, polished smooth by countless hands that have gripped its railings. The rain intensifies again, creating a more complex percussion on the canvas overhead. You can distinguish different rhythms now, the quick patter of smaller drops, the deeper thrum of larger ones, the occasional splash as water cascades from a particularly heavy accumulation on a roof line above. It's like listening to a vast, gentle drum circle where every surface in the city contributes its own voice to the symphony of water and weather. As you emerge from beneath the bridge, you notice that the character of the neighborhood has shifted once more. These buildings are older still, their architecture speaking of medieval times when the canal system first carved its liquid pathways through the growing city. Stone walls rise directly from the water, worn smooth by centuries of rain and weather, their surfaces darkened to deep charcoal that seems to absorb and hold the lamplight rather than reflect it. A small monastery appears on your left, its simple bell tower rising modestly into the rain-dark sky. No light shows in its windows. The residents have long since retired to cells where they rest in the simplicity that marks their chosen way of life. Yet even in darkness, the building radiates a sense of peace, of lives dedicated to contemplation and prayer. The rain falls on its roof like a benediction, blessing the quiet devotion that shelters within these ancient walls. The boatman's movements have become even more gentle, if such a thing is possible. Each pole stroke seems to honor the sacred quality of this district, moving you forward with the reverence of someone who understands that some places require a softer touch, a more mindful presence. His breathing has deepened, and you realize he too is being affected by the profound peace of these rain-blessed waters. You pass a series of tiny courtyards that open directly onto the canal, each one a perfect miniature world of plants and stone and carefully arranged simplicity. Even in the darkness, you can sense the loving attention that has shaped these spaces. The placement of a single tree to provide shade in summer, the arrangement of stones to create natural seating, the positioning of rain barrels to catch the precious water that falls from heaven like liquid grace. The rain continues its eternal conversation with every surface, but here it seems more musical, more intentional. Each drop that strikes stone creates a tiny bell-like sound, while the water running in gutters murmurs like voices in distant prayer. The accumulated effect is of being inside a vast, gentle cathedral where the rain itself serves as both choir and congregation, singing hymns of peace to the sleeping city. A small chapel appears on a tiny island in the middle of the canal, so modest it could easily be overlooked if not for the single candle burning in its window. The building seems to float on the dark water, connected to the surrounding city only by the bridge of faith that spans all distances. The candle's flame flickers behind rain-streaked glass, a beacon of hope and constancy in the fluid darkness of the night. Your blanket has become heavier with the weight of complete relaxation, and you find yourself sinking deeper into the cushioned seat as your body surrenders more fully to the journey's embrace. The boat's motion has synchronized perfectly with your breathing, creating a rhythm so natural it seems as though you've been traveling these waters all your life, as though this gentle rocking is your most natural state of being. The canal curves sharply to the right, and you find yourself in a district of tiny houses built so close to the water that their doorsteps disappear beneath the surface. These are the homes of canal workers and boat builders, people whose lives have been intimately connected to these waterways for generations. Rain streams down their narrow facades, pooling in window boxes where herbs and flowers drink deeply of the night's bounty. A night watchman appears on one of the walkways, making his rounds with a lantern that swings gently in rhythm with his steps. He raises his hand in a silent greeting as your boat passes, a gesture of recognition between fellow creatures of the night. His presence is reassuring, a reminder that even in the deepest hours, someone is always watching over the sleeping city, ensuring that peace and safety reign supreme. The rain has found every crevice and depression in the ancient stonework around you, creating temporary pools that reflect the sparse lighting like scattered stars. Some of these pools will exist only for the duration of the storm, disappearing with tomorrow's sun, while others have been forming and reforming in the same spots for centuries, patient witnesses to the endless dialogue between sky and stone. You pass beneath another bridge, this one so ancient its stones seem to have grown together through the slow alchemy of time and weather. Moss has found purchase in the joints between blocks, creating a soft green carpet that glows faintly in the lantern light. Water drips steadily from every surface, each drop adding its voice to the complex symphony of sound that surrounds your passage through this liquid underworld. A small bakery appears ahead, its windows dark, but somehow still radiating the promise of tomorrow's warmth and nourishment. You can almost smell the phantom aroma of bread rising in the darkness, waiting for the baker's early morning arrival to transform flour and water into sustenance for the waking city. The rain beads on the window glass, creating patterns that will shift and change until dawn brings new light to reveal fresh arrangements of water and reflection. The boatman's breathing has become so synchronized with his movements that the entire boat seems to pulse with the rhythm of meditation. His presence has transformed from that of guide to companion, from navigator to fellow traveler on this journey toward inner peace. You realize that he has been on this route countless times, yet each passage brings him the same sense of wonder and tranquility that you're experiencing now. The canal opens into a small circular basin surrounded by buildings so old their foundations predate written history. Here, the rain falls into water that has been flowing for 1,000 years, joining currents that have carried boats and dreams and whispered prayers through all the generations of human habitation. You're not just traveling through space, but through time, connected to every soul who has ever found peace on these gentle waters. A fountain stands in the center of the basin, but unlike the grand displays you've passed earlier, this one is simple and ancient, just a spring that bubbles up from deep underground, adding its voice to the rain's percussion with the patient constancy of geological time. The sound it makes is primordial, speaking of aquifers and underground rivers, of water's journey from sky to sea and back again in the endless cycle that sustains all life. The buildings around the basin show every era of the city's architectural history, from the rough stone blocks of the earliest settlement to the refined masonry of later centuries. Each structure has been shaped by rain and weather, worn smooth in some places, carved deeper in others, creating a textbook of time written in stone and mortar. The rain continues this patient work of sculpture, adding infinitesimal changes with every drop. Your boat circles the fountain slowly, allowing you to appreciate the full circumference of this ancient place. You notice details that would be invisible in daylight, the way water has carved shallow channels and windowsills, the pattern of iron stains on stone where rain has run for centuries, the accumulated patina of age and weather that gives each surface its own unique character and voice. A night market boat drifts into the basin from another channel, its hold filled with goods that will stock the morning vendors throughout the district. The boat moves almost silently, its captain is skilled in the arts of quiet navigation as your own boatman. The two vessels acknowledge each other with subtle nods, fellow practitioners of the peaceful craft of water travel in sleeping cities. The rain intensifies once more, and the sound on your canvas canopy becomes rich and full, like being inside a vast drum that resonates with the heartbeat of the sky itself. You close your eyes and let the sound wash through you, feeling each drop not just as precipitation, but as a small blessing, a tiny gift from the infinite generosity of the natural world. When you open your eyes, your boat has entered yet another channel, this one leading into what appears to be the city's most ancient quarter. Here, the buildings seem to emerge from the canal itself, their lower stories lost in centuries of accumulated history and rising water levels. Narrow walkways run along the canal's edge, barely wide enough for a single person, disappearing into tunnel-like passages beneath the overhanging upper floors of the buildings. A small door opens directly onto the water, and an elderly woman appears briefly to empty a bucket of rainwater that she's collected from her roof. She moves with the careful precision of someone who has performed this same task thousands of times, part of the daily rhythm of life in this aquatic neighborhood. She notices your boat and smiles, raising her hand in a gesture of blessing before retreating back into the warm glow of her home. The rain has created a geography of temporary streams and cascades wherever the architecture allows. You watch water find its way down walls, following the mortar lines between bricks, pooling in carved decorative elements, spilling from gutters and steady streams that catch the light like silver ribbons. Each building has become a unique water sculpture, constantly changing as the rain continues its gentle work of transformation. A cat picks its way carefully along one of the narrow walkways, pausing under the slight protection of an overhanging balcony to groom itself before continuing on its mysterious nocturnal business. There's something deeply satisfying about witnessing these independent lives continuing their ancient patterns, regardless of weather or time, following instincts and routines older than human civilization. The canal narrows to barely the width of your boat, creating an intimate tunnel of architecture and history. Here, the rain sounds different, more enclosed, more resonant, creating echoes that bounce between the close walls before dissipating into the night air. Your boatman's pole moves with extra care in these confined waters, each stroke calculated to avoid any disturbance to the sleeping residents whose windows glow softly just meters away. You pass a tiny garden that someone has created on a platform barely large enough for a single chair and a few potted plants. The dedication required to maintain such a space speaks to the human need for beauty and growth, for connection with the natural world even in the heart of the urban environment. The rain nourishes these plants as faithfully as it feeds the great forests beyond the city, part of the same generous system that sustains all life. A small workshop appears on your right, its windows revealing the shapes of traditional boat-building tools hanging from wooden beams. Even in darkness, the space radiates the satisfaction of skilled craftsmanship, of hands that know wood and water, and the ancient art of creating vessels that can carry dreams as well as passengers. The rain drums gently on the workshop's roof, blessing the work that will resume with tomorrow's light. The boatman's rhythm has become hypnotic in its consistency, each pole stroke a meditation that seems to extend beyond the physical act to embrace something essential about the nature of progress itself. Not hurried, not forced, but steady and patient, trusting in the accumulated power of gentle persistence to carry you toward whatever destination awaits at the journey's end. The canal opens once more into a broader waterway where several smaller channels converge like the fingers of a hand coming together. Here, the rain has more room to fall freely, creating a more complex pattern of sound as it strikes different surfaces at different angles. You can hear it pattering on water, drumming on stone, whispering against glass, and gurgling in the various gutters and downspouts that line the buildings on either side. A night ferry appears in the distance, carrying the few people who need to cross the city during these deep hours. Hospital workers, perhaps, or police officers, or insomniacs seeking the peace that only comes from movement through rain-washed streets. The ferry's lights reflect in the rain-darkened water, creating doubled images that shimmer and dance with each small wave and current. The buildings here are grander, speaking of the city's merchant class. Successful traders and guild masters who built their homes to reflect their prosperity while maintaining the intimate relationship with the water that defines this community. Rain streams down elaborate facades, following carved channels and decorative gutters that turn the practical necessity of drainage into opportunities for architectural beauty. You pass a small plaza that opens onto the canal, its central fountain sending up a modest spray that mingles with the falling rain. A few benches surround the fountain, their wet surfaces gleaming in the lamplight, waiting for tomorrow's visitors who will come to sit and watch the boats pass while listening to the eternal conversation between water and stone. The rain has become such an integral part of your experience that you can barely imagine the world without it. Its rhythm has synchronized with your heartbeat. Its sound has become the background music of your deepest relaxation. Each drop seems to carry away another fragment of tension, another particle of the accumulated stress that ordinary life deposits in body and mind like sediment in a slow-moving stream. A small museum appears on your left, its classical facade speaking of the city's dedication to preserving its history and culture. Even closed and dark, the building seems to hum with the presence of the artifacts and artworks that rest safely within its climate-controlled galleries. The rain washes its steps and columns clean, preparing them for tomorrow's visitors who will come to connect with the accumulated wisdom and beauty of past generations. Your blanket has become impossibly heavy with relaxation, and you find yourself settling deeper and deeper into the cushioned seat as your body surrenders completely to the journey's embrace. The boat's motion has become as natural as breathing, as essential as the circulation of blood through your veins. You're no longer merely being transported. You've become part of the water itself, flowing with currents that extend far beyond this single canal to encompass all the waterways of the world. The boatman's breathing has deepened to match the rhythm of the rain, creating a human music that harmonizes perfectly with the night's natural symphony. His presence has become so integral to the journey that you can't imagine this experience without him. Not just as navigator, but as guardian of the peace, keeper of the sacred knowledge of how to move through the world without disturbance, carrying passengers not just through space, but through the deeper waters of consciousness itself. The canal curves one final time, leading into the most peaceful district you've yet encountered. Here, the buildings seem to emanate tranquility, their windows glowing with the soft light of homes where families rest in perfect security. Children dream behind those windows while parents find respite from their daily responsibilities, all of them held safe by the city's gentle embrace and the rain's protective blessing. A small church appears ahead, its modest spire reaching into the rain-dark sky like a finger pointed toward heaven. Light glows softly through its stained glass windows, probably from sanctuary lamps that burn throughout the night as symbols of eternal hope and faith. The building seems to offer its blessing to all who pass, regardless of their beliefs, a reminder that the human spirit seeks transcendence in every age and circumstance. The rain continues its gentle percussion, sometimes growing slightly heavier, sometimes softening to barely more than mist, but never stopping entirely. It has become the soundtrack of this journey into peace, the rhythm that coordinates not just your breathing but your very existence in this moment. Each drop carries with it the accumulated wisdom of sky and cloud, the patient teachings of weather and season, the eternal reminder that all things flow and change and return again to their source. A small bookshop appears on your right, its windows dark, but somehow still radiating the warmth of stories and ideas. Even closed, it seems to hum with the voices of thousands of authors and the dreams of countless readers, all the books waiting patiently for morning to bring new seekers of wisdom and imagination. The rain streams down its windows like liquid thoughts, connecting the interior universe of story with the exterior reality of night and weather. The boatman's movements remain perfectly rhythmic, each pole stroke a meditation in motion that seems to extend beyond the physical act to embrace something essential about existence itself. His presence has become part of the boat's essence, as natural and necessary as the hull beneath you or the canvas overhead. You trust his navigation completely, surrendering to his expertise and finding peace in the knowledge that you're in hands that understand not just the geography of water, but the deeper territories of the human spirit. The canal begins to narrow once more as you approach what feels like the heart of this liquid labyrinth, the secret center where all the waterways converge in purpose, if not in fact. Here, the rain seems more intentional, more musical, each drop contributing its voice to a composition that has been playing since the first storm touched the first stone of the city's foundation. You pass a series of tiny courtyards that open directly onto the canal, each one a perfect world in miniature. Even in darkness, you can sense the care that has gone into creating these spaces. The placement of a single tree, the arrangement of stones to create natural seating, the positioning of rain barrels to catch the precious water that falls like grace from the generous sky. The rain has found every surface and made it beautiful. Walls gleam with moisture, creating canvases for reflected light that shift and change with every small movement of water and air. Windows become mirrors that reflect not just the physical world, but something deeper. The peace that comes from surrender, the beauty that emerges when we stop trying to control our experience and simply allow ourselves to be carried by currents larger and wiser than our individual will. A small island appears in the middle of the canal, crowned with a single ancient tree whose branches spread protectively over a simple stone bench. The tree's leaves catch the rain and release it in larger drops that create a different rhythm as they hit the ground. A deeper, more resonant sound that speaks of forests and growth and the endless conversation between earth and sky. Even here, in the heart of the city, nature maintains its essential presence, reminding all who pass of the larger systems that sustain and nurture life. Your breathing has slowed to match the boat's rhythm, and you find your thoughts becoming as fluid and peaceful as the water beneath you. The journey has carried you not just through the physical geography of the sleeping city, but through the interior landscape of consciousness itself, leading you toward that place of perfect rest where body and mind find their natural harmony. The rain continues its gentle work of transformation, washing the city clean of the day's accumulated dust and stress, preparing it for the renewal that comes with dawn. But for now, in these deep hours of night, it serves primarily as a source of peace, a constant reminder that some rhythms are larger than human urgency, some sounds more important than the noise of busy lives. The boat moves deeper into this watery sanctuary, carrying you toward the perfect rest that waits at the journey's end. The boatman's pole slides into the water with practiced silence, propelling you forward with movements so smooth they seem to honor the sacred quality of this passage through the sleeping city's liquid heart. And still the rain falls, blessing your journey with its ancient song, promising rest and renewal in its gentle, endless rhythm. You close your eyes and surrender completely to the motion, to the sound, to the perfect peace of traveling slowly through a world washed clean by night and rain, carried toward dreams on currents of liquid starlight that will flow long after your journey ends, long after morning comes to wake the sleeping city once again.